It's happening, Tim Piltregoops. I was going to come on and do this fucking video earlier, but the fucking sun was out, wasn't it? After it been pissing a fucking rain all day, I get fucking soaked walking to my class. Um, and the bit where my window faces out, the sun sets there, and see when it's bright, it's just fucking bright as fuck in here, so it just fucks the lighting up, so couldn't be fucked to be honest with you, but mad. See, when I was walking down to my class today, right, I heard a siren, right, in the distance. So I'm walking straight down, and then who's come up the corner? Who's turned the corner? The mob, the busies, right? And I'm like, ah, fuck's sake, man. They're about to ruin some cunts day, you know what I mean? And see, when they were driving past, one of them was pure like that. See, straining his neck to look at us. And I was like, that was a bit weird, because they didn't even look old enough to know me. If you get me, like, it's not like, oh, if you go, oh, maybe they jailed you one day or something. But see, I actually started laughing at myself, right? I must have looked like a mental patient, man. Like, see, mad images coming in your head and you just start laughing at shit. And I was thinking to myself, I wonder if he was like that, or I can't hear that fucking tin pail cunt. Oh, that'd have been funny, man. But, aye, I was fucking, and I get heavy caught in that rain walking down to my class, right? And I've got in and got set up and all that, and then 5 minutes into the class, I had a bad anxiety attack, man. Had to go in the toilet and sort myself out, man. Don't know if any have ever had anything like this, but it's no a nice feeling. And it just pure came over me like this fucking horrible feeling, and just racing thoughts, and thinking I'm going to fucking take a heart attack in a class full of cunts doing jiu-jitsu, you know what I mean? Like, fuck, like, and you're just making it worse for yourself. It's called catastrophic thinking. It just snowballs, you know what I mean? But the weird thing is, like, I haven't had one of these anxiety attacks for quite a while. Do you know what I mean? But I've had them for I was like 18-year-old, and it's just the result of all the shit that's happened in my life that maybe um I've I don't want to say no dealt with, but like I'm fucking a basket case. But obviously there's got to be a lot of unresolved conflicts and stuff that I've maybe no sorted, or maybe see like the responsibility of being a single parent, being a dad to a 12-year-old boy on my own. Like, sometimes I think that's see the realization of having that responsibility. Sometimes it's almost too much to fucking to 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 balance. Not what I mean, and I don't mean that like I can't look after my kid. What I mean is, if anything happens to me, what's got to happen to my son, like that. Do you know what I mean? And I do not want him to begin down the wrong road, taking like any kind of path that I took back in the day when I was no much older than him. Because no good ever comes out of that. Just misery, mate. Want to be a miserable cunt locked up, man. Know what I mean? Fucking wishing you a second chance. Know what I mean? Or fucking touch wood getting done in. Know what I mean? It's horrendous, man. I don't get parents that let their kids run about and do all that shit, man. Know what I mean? Or don't try and stop them from going down there. Know what I mean? But it just worries me sometimes, not I mean, and I suppose that just comes with being a parent. You go worry about shit all the time, but um, I'm thriving in a lot of ways. Do you know what I mean? That's what I was saying to somebody at the weekend. There, I was like, compared to where I was 10 years ago, mate, I'm on top, and but I wouldn't say that like about in general. I would just say compared to where I was, like, even when I first came out in that, like, just totally just doing shit with myself, living a life that I've never have known. Do you know what I mean? Like, fucking staying pure, like, no even mundane things, just doing things like fucking say go to a football match, going to a fucking concert. You can do what the fuck you want. Whereas before, my life was completely different before I was a dad. Know what I mean? But it keeps me grounded. But aye, that the day was fucking horrendous, man. But Geary instructor his Dewey actually came looking for me after about 10 minutes, like, you alright not? But I'd told him when I first joined up, I says, listen, if you ever see me acting weird, I says, it's probably, I'm probably hitting a badging. And he's like, aye, don't worry about it. And it's not like one of the kind of places where you're fucking no want to say nothing. Like, it's a brilliant place. Like, cunts walking about with odd soaps and all that on, but they'd fucking snap your arms off and shove them up your arse, know what I mean? And getting into these places at first, it's intimidating in the sense that it's a combat sport or whatever you want to call it. But I wouldn't change it, man. I just, know what I mean? I love it. Just being able to go and do these things I always wanted to do as a kid. Maybe no Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but fucking like fighting sports, know what I mean? I was into all that martial arts stuff when I was a wee boy, and still got photos of me with my karate suit and all that. But one of the ones, my dad would take me for the first 2 or 3 weeks and then, make excuses up. Whereas obviously the karate club my son goes to and I go to is like right in my front doorstep, like a 20-minute walk from my front door. And, I always make sure my son keeps at it, and do you know what I mean? And I like that he's dead sporty, you know what I mean? But anyway, see I was wanting to come on and talk about OJ Simpson, right? But maybe I'll do that another night. Because the more I was looking into it, I was like, fucking hell, there's hundreds of shit here. And I don't like being on for fucking ages talking shit, you know what I mean? But the I was trying to think. I was like, I want to do a Scottish one, right? And I was trying to think of something obscure, like maybe nobody'd heard of, or maybe people had forgot about, or whatever, and tell it like that, right? But there was one case that came to mind, and I couldn't remember this cunt's name, right? And then I was like, boom, that's it. And this case was known as the hot tub killer, right? And the guy who was convicted for this, his name was Sean Alexander. He was from somewhere in Fife, I think. And he was convicted of a double murder, right? Because like a domestic, right? And he had come into shots when we were there. So the kind of rundown of this case was, he was estranged for his wife, right? Meant to have been like stalking her and all this fucking weird shit, right? And I don't know how they ended up being estranged, like if there was any like physical abuse, any like any sort of thing like that. Obviously something's happened, because you're no married 1 minute and fucking separated or divorced the next. Something's obviously got to give, innit? It's just life, what happens with these things. So what's happened is his ex-wife has met this other guy, right, and started seeing him, and he's confronted them outside a pub, I think it was, right? And they've went and reported it to the police, but they hadn't deemed it that serious. So they said, oh, we'll send somebody out tomorrow, whatever it was, right? So meanwhile, he's the ex-wife and her new partner, I can't mind his name, but I'll look at it in a minute. They've went like on a double date to a house, and the two guys and the two women have got in this hot tub in out in the back garden, and then he's just appeared with a knife and a crowbar and attacked the other couple, I believe he attacked the guy first and smashed him over the face with a crowbar. I think he might have knocked him out. And they've ran through the house, and then he's pursued his ex-wife and the new partner, and he's stabbed them to death, you know what I mean? And the weird thing was, right, when I was looking at I think it was one of the court documents, he'd stabbed the new boyfriend. I think it was just below the collarbone or just above it, and he severed something. But he stabbed him twice in the same wound, right? And sadly, the guy's ex-wife, she was stabbed, like, they said that the knife went right in up to the hilt, know what I mean? So, like, that would take some amount of force, some amount of anger, and it's pretty clear for that he intended to achieve what he ended up doing. But this was quite high profile at the time, because this happened in like the end of 2004, and I was already up in the National Induction Centre in Shotts, which is kind of like, back then it was like to break you into your sentence. It was, you were supposed to be doing the NIC. I'm sure back in the day used to be 10 year and up. You had to be doing at least 10 year to even be in this hall. But then they lowered it to 8 year. And maybe sometimes if there was like a kind of, not a special case, but like somebody, like I remember there was one boy in there doing a 4, but I think that was so he was in a different kind of regime than if he'd went to B or C hall, where it's like, but they made it like as if like, oh, NIC's any less fucking dodgier than fucking B and C hall in Shotts, not I mean? D hall was protection, so we don't really hang with that one. But any hall you were in up there, didn't matter what fucking hall you were in, if somebody wanted to do something to you, it would fucking happen. It was just like run differently. Do you know what I mean? It's you didn't need to go to the sheds and all this kind of piss, you know what I mean? You get a lot more field time up with football pitches and all that shit, right? But I remember the NIC had its own gym, right? And there was some regulars in this gym, shall we say, right? Me being one of them, funnily enough, back in the day when I was fucking, what, 23, 24, something like that. And when this cunt came into the NIC, like, nobody spoke to him. Nobody when he kinda I don't know how to put it. I don't want to say like background, like we were fucking mad wise guys or something. What I mean is, like, MD came from any kind of background like myself, or maybe somebody who was a bit fucking in the dodgy side, and I say dodgy like bit of a boy in about the fucking the organised crime shit or whatever. Nobody would talk to somebody like that for that kind of shit. And prisons are quite judgmental places, do you know what I mean? Because it's like too busy looking at other people taking a take the heat, no, take the heat off yourself, you know what I mean? But like, we've all done it, man. I've fucking done it, you know what I mean? Like, fucking that cunt, no, like. But I started looking inward, and then I'm less judgmental as I'm older. But anyway, I remember we were all doing this gym, right? And it's not that big. It's just that it's like a small multi gym, right? And he's walked in, and the full fucking gyms went silent in it. And there's a couple of bits of boys that, like, maybe guys that were in for like shootings and all these kind of things, right? Maybe some of them you've heard of, but I don't want to say who they are. And this big solid cunt, I mean, looks like he eats screws brains for breakfast, man, right? But switched on like, just a big lump of a boy, you know what I mean? Could fucking probably, he was lifting the heaviest weights in here by a country mile, right, this guy for Glasgow. And he's walked in, the full gyms went silent, he just turned around and looked at him down, oh, beast, get the fuck out. And that Sean, the cunt who was in for the double murder, his ex-partner, my new boyfriend, like, stormed out of the gym like a fucking unruly Wayne getting told off, and his face was all screwed up and all that, and I remember thinking, what a walloper, man. But imagine even walking it, but I'd have been the way it is in there, your MD does that to you, you need to, it would be advisable to do something, because you're just going to get that everywhere you go. Maybe didn't have any sort of thing with, but the thing that I find with people who are in for these kind of crimes is they have fragile egos. To be able to murder somebody's one thing, right? But see, to murder the mother of your child or your children, that takes an extra level of fucking inferiority and rage and anger. Like, Lassie move, don't fucking deal with it. Alright, man, I think I read that he wasn't allowed to see the Wayne, but I don't see that coming out of nowhere, do you know what I mean? Because obviously, no way to stick up for them, but obviously social workers need to know that there's some sort of risk there. Like, and look at my past, I've got full custody of my son, didn't even need to go to court, but that's another story. But what I'm trying to say is, you don't just get your Wayne took at, like, stops for seeing your Wayne, do you know what I mean? I think there must have been grounds for that decision. And the mad thing was, he got 17 years. So life with a recommendation, you serve no less than 17 years in prison. How the fuck do you get 17 years for a double murder and 2 attempt murders or whatever it was? Like, I remember, I'm sure somebody appealed that. The prosecutor, I think, appealed it, and it increased to 20, but even 20 years for 2 murders, like, fuck me, man. Like, he got off lightly, and it's just so sad that there's kids growing up with, they've lost a mum and a dad. But to be fair, if they can't let a seizure die, you're better off without them. But we'd actually heard a rumour, right? I can't even mind who told me this, but it was somebody in shots anyway, that, like, he was doing mad shit, like hiding in the boot of her motor to see where she was driving and all this mad shit. I don't know if that was true or no, but just, we all go through things in life, breakups, divorces, death, whatever, right? But, and obviously there's things that's happened in my life that I've not handled well, do you know what I mean? I would say especially in my younger years, but it's never once crossed my mind to fucking butcher my ex because she went with somebody else, she wanted to fucking move on. Like, be a fucking man about it. Like, go and get an Uber, fuck's sake. Like, you've got to throw your whole life away, but people go, oh, but if I can't have her, nobody can have her. Or maybe there's been women that have said that about guys, but, like, fuck me, man. Like, that's just the epitome of weakness to me, man. Like, do you know what I mean? I would never get myself in a position where I would ruin my life like that for, like, even, let's say, my Wayne's ma. Know what I mean? Fuck it, I still talk to her, let her stay for fucking 2 weeks and all this shit, like, and we've had worse shit back in the day, arguing all the time, but never lifted my horns, never even thought. I would like to say she's also never lifted her horns to me, obviously, just heavy fucking arguments, right? verbal arguments, but I couldn't hurt her. Do you know what I mean? That's my kid's ma, and she's got a couple of other kids, you know what I mean? That's somebody's ma, like, end of the day, fucking relationships fucking come and go, you know what I mean? And I get why people would be upset, like, if something doesn't go the way you hoped, or there's betrayal, or there's whatever, but at the end of the day, the lassie was just trying to move on with her fucking life, man, and they sounded like a bit of a control freak, if I'm honest, you know what I mean? But I've always said, like, something alright with cunts like that, man. But see, while I'm here, right, I want to read some of the media stuff and the court stuff, right, that I found online, so, to give you a better kind of hang with, because, like, I couldn't remember the poor lassie who died. I couldn't remember her name, the victim's names, right, and I think that's a bit shite, like, coming on and saying the ex-partner, like, objectifying the guy who died as well. Do you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, like, I'm just on here talking about these crimes and experiences and all that, and then weaving my own analysis through it. Do you know what I mean? And obviously I remembered this when it happened, but, like, I can't remember everything. Do you know what I mean? Fuck's sake, I'm no Rain Man, even though some people might tell you I am. Right, so listen to this, right? So this is Monday the 31st of January 2005. So this is when I was in the NIC in shorts, right? An obsessed, right, so this is the headline, man admits 5 hot tub murders. So he was called the hot tub killer, this fucking nutter. So, an obsessed husband has pleaded guilty to murdering his estranged wife and her boyfriend in a hot tub in Fife. Sean Alexander, 32, stabbed Nicola Johnston 8 times in the attack at the home of Kevin Braid in Leslie in October 2004. Mr. Braid, a 41-year-old father of 2, was hit with a crowbar and fatally stabbed in the chest by Alexander. There were cries of scum and butcher from the public benches at the High Court in Edinburgh. Alexander will be sentenced later. Alexander also admitted assaulting Barry Gregg, 41, to a severe injury and permanent disfigurement. Mr. Gregg was sharing the spa bath with Claire Ritchie, Miss Johnston and Mr. Braid when Alexander attacked them. The court held that Miss Johnston had split up with Alexander about 6 months earlier and had left the family home with the couple's 18-month-old son. Alexander told friends that after his wife left him, if he could not have her, then no one else would. What a loser, mate. Fuck's sake. Advocate Depute David Young said the accused has stated to friends that if he could not have his wife, then no one else could have her. Following their breakup, he proceeded to stalk Ms. Johnston, 23, at Glenrothes College, where she was studying to be a nurse, and at Dunfermline's Queen Margaret Hospital, where she had a work placement. So stalking, like, pure possessive, know what I mean? Just a fucking raging fucking fruitcake, man. Know what I mean? Hold on. Ms. Johnston had applied for a court ban to stop him following her, but the court held it had not been granted by the time Alexander killed her. And see, to just butt in here, it probably wouldn't have helped her anyway, because it would have helped her feel a bit better or feel safer or whatever, but this guy is the obsessive jealous type, and I believe that there was nothing that was got to stop him doing this. Do you know what I mean? I do believe this would have still happened unless she had, like, just went completely anonymous, left the area or that, and they couldn't find her. I think that's the only thing that would have saved her. Mr. Young said he had approached and made menacing comments to men whom he considered without foundation his wife was having a relationship. But about 3 weeks before the killing, she had started to see Mr. Braid. On the evening before the murder, Alexander approached his estranged wife and Mr. Braid as they left a bar in Glenrothes. They went to the local police station intending to report the incident, but after making an initial complaint, they had to wait to see an officer to report the incident. Mr. Young said, Mr. Braid noted the police were busy and told them that as the incident was a minor matter, which could easily be dealt with the next day, they would return home. Before they returned home, Alexander was spotted driving into and leaving Mr. Braid's street several times. Mr. Gregg and Ms. Ritchie arrived at the house at about 1 o'clock in the morning on 10th of October and shared a drink with Mr. Braid and Ms. Johnston in the house before they decided to move out to the jacuzzi in the back garden. After entering the hot tub, they spotted Alexander standing nearby with a crowbar and a knife. Mr. Gregg rose and asked him what was happening, was hit on the head with the bar and fell back into the water. After another attack, Ms. Ritchie pulled him out the tub and they escaped into the house where they called the police. Emergency services arrived and found the naked body of Mr. Braid lying near the jacuzzi with a substantial wound to his chest. Obviously he's been stabbed, not him. Ms. Johnston was lying in the driveway between a wall and parked cars with various stab wounds to her chest and stomach. Mr. Gregg was taken to Dundee's Nine Wells Hospital with a broken nose and still has scarring on his head and face. The police launched a hunt for Alexander and tracked him down near Perth. When officers approached him, he said, "It's me you're looking for, I will come with you. I went a bit mental and did my wife and the guy she was seeing. I was just going to hand myself in." He then asked, "How are they?" Alexander later said he had never meant to kill anyone. But the court also heard he told a friend who visited him in prison, "I told you I would do it, and I did." Mr. Young said Ms. Johnston's parents, who now look after their grandson, were distraught at the death of their daughter. That's horrible, man. Mr. Braid's family had also been badly affected by the murders, and the business he ran with his sister has now had to close as a result of the death. Judge Ladysmith told Alexander, "You have pled guilty to 2 charges of murder. There will be no alternative but to impose a life sentence." The case was continued until later this month for a background report. But interestingly, a detective gave an interview, but he spoke about the case. Says detective talks of horrific crime. The detective who led the Leslie murder case has said it was the worst crime he has investigated. Sean Alexander, 32, killed his estranged wife Nicola Johnston and her lover Kevin Braid as they shared an outdoor spa bath with friends last October. Detective Inspector Jim McPherson, no relation, said it was the most horrific crime he had worked on in his 19-year career. The victims' families both expressed relief at Alexander's guilty plea as it spared them the anguish of a trial. But I don't think he was doing it to spare you the anguish. He's just thinking he's what he can fucking get out of it. Alexander stabbed 23-year-old Miss Johnston 8 times in the attack at Mr. Braid's home. Mr. Braid, a 41-year-old father of 2, was hit with a crowbar and fatally stabbed in the chest. Alexander pleaded guilty at the High Court in Edinburgh on Monday and is due to be sentenced at a later date. Speaking after Alexander's court appearance, Detective Inspector McPherson said, "In over 19 years in the police service, I can honestly say that this was without a doubt the most horrific crime I have ever had to investigate. I am delighted that Sean Alexander has chosen to plead guilty, preventing the need for a trial which may have added further anguish to the families of Nicola and Kevin. My thoughts are with both their families and friends, and I hope that this may assist in bringing some degree of closure for them. Crimes like this, which bring so much trauma both to individuals and communities, are thankfully comparatively uncommon." David Johnston, Miss Johnston's uncle, expressed his relief at the guilty plea and the heartache it has saved for her family. "The tragic thing is that this will not bring Nicola back. This has been a traumatic and horrific experience for Nicola's family, and all of us has been on medication for weeks as a result. Nicola was a happy, bubbly person who had found a new lease of life before these terrible events and was looking forward to moving into her new house. Today has brought some closure from the nightmare of the last few months. Mr. Braid's father, Mev, remembered him as a happy and popular person. He said, "This has left all his family and friends distraught beyond words, but it's been a tragedy not just for us but the whole community. Our main concern now is his two children, who we know will continue to suffer from the actions of that terrible day. We are relieved that we have been spared a trial and ask that we be left to get on with our lives in the best way possible." I don't know if I'd have made this if I'd seen that, but that's just, see, when you see it from the victim's perspective, man, it's just horrendous. So I'm looking at the Scottish Courts and Tribunals website for Sean Alexander's appeal, and it's saying how the appeal was by the Crown. So 9th of June 2005, this is an appeal by the Crown on the grounds that the punishment part of 17 years was unduly lenient in respect that the discount of 7 years in respect of each of the punishment parts set by the sentencing judge was excessive. So basically, it does go through the crime as a whole, and when I say crime, I mean obviously there's 4 people, 2 people have lost their lives and then another 2 people were hurt, but it's the crime as a whole, do you know what I mean? Just, it said the guy died with a single stab wound, you know what I mean? So that doesn't sound like somebody who, obviously he would have been raging when he's done this, but see, got all that, oh, how are they, and that's just all fucking window dressing, man. But pretty horrendous case, man, if you ask me. So he was sentenced to life, as I said, where the punishment part of the sentence was 17 years, but apparently the Crown appealed it and his sentence was increased to 20, but I don't know how you get 20 years for 2 murders. Where do know? I was just looking at something saying that he had been interviewed by a forensic psychiatrist for Carstairs, but it doesn't say like what the what the diagnosis was, if there was one. That would have been interesting. That would have been interesting to see what they were saying, to be honest with you, because I find there's more. I find these are better documents to work with than any sort of fucking newspaper reports and all that shit, you know what I mean? Because that's like the academic side of it, and there's a lot more depth, do you know what I mean? Whereas newspaper shit, no, it's just a fucking reporter sitting in court taking notes. But these reports for shrinks, psychologists and all this, they're actually spending time with the person who's committed this offence. And you're not getting any better info than that, you know what I mean? But that's that. But aye, it's just sad, and he'll probably be up for his parole soon. Don't know what any of you think, man, but I just think there's some things you don't come back for, you know what I mean? And how is he got to be a danger to women all his fucking life, you know what I mean? You've got to take that into consideration. What if he gets out and meets some other lassie and fucking doesn't tell her anything about himself or what, you know what I mean? Could be your daughter, could be my fucking sister. Well, my sister stays in England, but you get what I'm saying. Somebody could be in the jail now and they get out and, you know what I mean? Just doesn't bear thinking about, man, but good to just try and bring awareness to some things, innit? You know what I mean? But I'll leave you to it, and hope you have a good night and stay safe. Take care. All that. Know what I mean? Good night.